Hello ladies and gentlemen and welcome. My name is Scheming on my channel. Today you're joining me for a Town of Salem logic builder. This is where I help you guys who want to play Town of Salem build upon your foundation of game mechanics and knowledge and logic. And this one is going to be focusing on the early game. So I will cover the early game logic for Town, Mafia, and also Serial Killer. That'll be it though. A lot of the other neutral roles kind of here and there, and I might touch on them specifically at some other time. But let's get it going with this. So the early game logic for Town. Early game is a good time to keep quiet, mostly. Unless you have some kind of like critical information and evidence that cannot be refuted, do not call your role early. It is almost never a good idea. I cannot tell you how many times I see people say, oh, well, I'm lookout and I saw these two people visit this guy. Well, the guy didn't die. The guy was either healed then or investigated. You just told the Mafia who the healer and the investigator probably are. And you outed yourself as a lookout. Do not call your role unless there's evidence that the person you caught is absolutely and irrefutably evil. Okay? That's very important. Another point for early game logic for Town is focus on using your rule's ability efficiently. If you're suspicious of somebody, investigate them. If you're not an investigative role, put your suspicions in your will. Someone else may feel the same way. It's very important to keep track of your role's ability and who you're visiting and what you've kind of acquired from your role. If you're an investigator, be very careful when calling out a serial killer, godfather, or mafioso, because they could be a town. So be sure that the serial killer isn't actually the doctor. Because if you call out, oh, Joe is a serial killer or doctor, and I think he could be the serial killer, maybe he is a doctor, and you just told Mafia and serial killer who the doctor is. Be very wary of day one lynches. It could be an executioner pushing their target. That's the way that a lot of them kind of get going. They're like, oh, I'm on the lookout and I saw that the serial killer visited this person. We have to kill him. Be careful. It could be true. It could be a lie. Early game for Town is most about gathering information. Random lynching is stupid, so write in your will and don't random lynch people. And finally, eliminate a kill potential as soon as possible. KP, kill potential, is kind of like this. Both Mafia and serial killer can kill one person every night. So if you have the option between killing one of the Mafia or the serial killer during the day, kill the serial killer. So one less person will die at night. You always want to have the least amount of night deaths as possible because those are people that can't speak in their will. They can't add any more conversation or point out. You lose that role and you lose the person behind the role too. So try to eliminate a kill potential as soon as possible. Now, talking about some early game logic for Mafia. Do not push too hard early on, or you'll become a target for investigators, sheriffs, and the likes. Number 2, have a fake claim role ready in case you get jailed early. This is very important and often forgotten. Be ready with your fake role that you can call. Make sure it hasn't already been called on the side. You can still get screwed with this if the doctor or if the jailer claims somebody or, has already gotten a role claim from somebody who they trust more than you. But have it planned out so you don't sit there stumbling and trying to make it up on the spot. Have a fake role ready to go. Try to eliminate these following roles early on as Mafia. Investigator, jailer, lookout, sheriff. These roles can all cause you a lot of harm. So leave jesters alive. Actually, a lot of people like to kill jesters, even Mafia, but leave them alive if you know who they are until later, because you can actually use them to kill town members if you're smart about it. Never, ever rat out a fellow Mafia. It does not help in the end. Even if you rat out one fellow Mafia and one bad guy or one town, and you're like, oh, well, I need to rat out one of my Mafia friends to give it credibility, don't. You're better off just not saying anything at that point. Finally, for Mafia, use your death note to point out possible serial killers. I can't tell you how often I've done this as Mafia and how much it's paid back for me, or to me, I should say. If you, at night, attack somebody and they're immune, you sit there, you go, that's probably the serial killer. Call it out in your death will for your death note for the next night's kill. So you let town know, hey, listen, I'm pretty sure this guy's a serial killer, because they want him dead as much as you do. You do not want to be facing a serial killer towards the end of the game unless you have overwhelming numbers of Mafia. So that's it for Mafia. I'm going to really quickly brush on the serial killer, some early game mechanics for serial killer, arguably one of the hardest roles to win as. And then we're going to call this episode done for early game Town of Salem logic. So for serial killer, keep out of the limelight. And this goes for pretty much always. You don't want to be investigated, because a lot of roles can really easily tell if you're the serial killer or not. Escort tests you out and puts in their will, they can find out it's you. If the jailer jails you and you kill them accidentally, they can find out it's you. Town can find out who the serial killer is. Investigators can find out, and sheriffs can also find out with 100% accuracy if you're the serial killer or not. So keep out of the limelight. You don't want to draw attention to yourself, especially not early. Now, if you know who the escort or the jailer is, kill them at night for extra confusement. Let's say that they investigate Joe, and your name is Bobby Lynn. Alright, so you kill them, and they said, well, I escorted Joe last night in their will, and he was killed by a serial killer. They're going to immediately go ahead and jump to the conclusion that the serial killer must have killed the escort at night and kill Joe instead of you, Bobby Lynn. It's actually a really good way to kind of throw some confusion in there, if you know who the escort or jailer is, that is. Now, as the SK, play as a little bit as if you're the doctor. If you get jailed, don't be afraid to call the role of doctor. You kind of want to be quiet like doctors are and conservative. You don't want to out yourself as any other role too early unless you're absolutely sure that you cannot get away with doctor. Okay? Now, be wary of the random town. Random town could be an investigator role. Random town could be a veteran. So could the town killing. You have to be careful when you call roles, because if the random town comes out and says, hey, actually, I'm a transporter, and people can prove it, you're on the chopping block. Ladies and gentlemen, that's it, though, for this episode of Town of Salem Logic Builder for the early game. I hope you guys enjoyed and found it helpful. If you did, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that great, awesome, fun stuff. You know I do appreciate it. And most importantly, follow me on Twitter if you want to keep up to date with my life and my videos. Very cool stuff there. Peace out.